Hi there, it's Kelly from Silly Moon Quilting Co. again. Just wanted to go over what I'm doing this evening. I'm working on my Freewheeling Single Girl quilt by Denise Schmidt. As you can see, I've got it pieced. You may have seen pictures already on Instagram about that, but I've got it pieced, and now I've decided to quilt it. And what I did was I made just a basic grid pattern on here for marking. I'm not a big fan of marking. I tend to do just minimal marking. But what I've done is just started through the center and made an X going both directions, corner to corner. And then I offset that line by 4 inches. And the reason I chose 4 inches is because I've decided I'm going to use our newest ruler, Eggy 2. And the length of Eggy is 3.5 inches long. So I want to be able to put it on here and have it go right from edge to edge or from corner to corner. So you take the length of this, and then you add 1/2 inch, and that allows for the ruler foot to go around it, and that will put you right in the same spot there. So I'm not going to show you doing the whole block because that will be extremely boring, but I will show you a bit of it, and then I will come back and show you the rest of it when it's complete. Now, the trick to this is kind of planning your route and how you want to go. So you can do it a couple different ways. You can either go down this way and then down this way and down all the way down and then come back the opposite direction. Or you can go up one side and then down the other side and then back up and then back the other way, and it brings you back to the start. Kind of depends on how you're moving your quilt, how big your quilt is, and typically I try to move the block the least amount that I have to, just because it keeps it a little bit easier and easier to control. So I'm going to show you the way I do it, but rest assured there's 100 different ways to do it. So I'm going to start in the middle because that I feel that kind of centers everything and stabilizes everything and keeps everything from moving. All I've done with this is I've got my top and my bottom and put my batting in between, and I've got it secured with some 505 spray. So here we go. I'll move my quilt so that I can drop my needle right in the center of that. I've got my feed dogs down. And then I line up the center line that's on Eggy here. I'll line up that center line on my seam. I do have my sticky tape on that comes with all of our rulers. And I'll line up that seam. And I'll hang on to my quilt and I'll hang on to my ruler. Make sure that I'm nice and square there. And then I just start to go around the ruler. And you're going to use the same sort of speed that you would with free motion quilting. You want to get your stitches as even as you like. Everyone has a different thought as to how they would like their stitches length. That's strictly a personal preference. Totally up to you. I am going to now go back down this side. I find that if I do that, it kind of makes a nice loop and it makes it easier and it brings me back to where I started. So then I'm going to go down around this way. And you'll find what works for you and makes you comfortable, whether you like working in the front of the foot or behind. And then once you get to that point, you can make a decision as to where you want to go from there. And then I'm going to go back up the other side. Again, I'm lining up that line. And when you do that 4-inch spacing, or the extra 1/2 inch from the size of the ruler, because you can do this with any oval ruler, and we offer 3 different sizes. There's Eggy 1, 2, and 3, so you can kind of make this whatever size you want. And then what I do is when I get to the end, there's just a little tiny space there, but I still want to make sure that that's quilted to kind of keep it cohesive. So I just kind of go like this, and I'll double back on it. I know that it's going to be the same because I'm using a ruler. And then I go to the ditch there, and then I come back around the other way. And just to the ditch again, and then I come back up to that seam. And that makes it so that I know where I'm going back the other way. I can line up my line again, and I'm tucking up the ruler tight against my ruler foot. And again, that's why it's really important to make sure that you have the clearance behind your ruler foot. And that'll bring me right back to my seam there. So I'll do a couple more here and bring me back up to the other side, and then I'm going to carry on off camera and I will show you what it's like once it's all done. Remember that when you're holding the ruler, you're not giving it a death grip. You're just holding it nice and firm, but it is really important to use the sticky tape on it. Oh, and I'm actually using a glide thread on this one. I don't typically use glide on my domestic, but the color that I had was perfect, and I'm actually kind of liking how it's giving me a bit of a sheen. It's kind of just a nice light green that goes with the green in the quilt. And it's okay to stop as you're going along. Just stop and reposition your hands so that you're comfortable. You want to make sure that you're comfortable and you're not tugging too much. I actually don't even have my, some people were asking me if I use a slip mat underneath here. And sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't have it with me right now, so I'm not using it. But you can. It makes it slide a little bit easier, but there's no reason that you have to use it. And then we're back where we started. So you can see there that that gives you some nice, nice ovals. And I will continue on through this quilt, and I will show you what it's going to be like when it's all done. If you well, I can actually show you another block here. So this is the one block. I've actually already done this block here. So you can see how this looks once it's all kind of quilted like that. I'm going to just move the iPad out a bit here. And then you can see how that looks once it's all quilted like that. Just kind of creates a different texture. Nice and easy. You can go back in here if you want and do some pebbles in here if you want to spice that up a little bit, or a little wishbones or whatever you kind of wanted to do in there. But that's the basics of using Eggy just to get some ovals on your quilt on this freewheeling single girl quilt. Hope you enjoy this video and have a great evening.